Okay, good morning or afternoon. So, with every unseen poem, we start off the same way with the who, the when, the summary of plot, the poet's message, as well as if any conflicts happen. Alright, so what I start off with first is to read through the entire poem. Okay, so after I finish reading through, we will try and attempt these 5 questions. Alright, so where the neighborhood wives, after a morning at the wet market, sit facing the breeze to trade snatches of gossip about leery shopkeepers, the local louts, like that fellow who's always drilling his walls, giving me a migraine, and that mad woman who throws things from her windows, with careful put downs they fashion boasts about stubborn sons, lazy daughters, who by some miracle or mistake always scores well in class. When words falter, gestures take over. Pursed lips, rolling eyes, animated hands adorned by bangles of gold, jade, steel, string. So if I summarize this entire stanza, the whole stanza is just the neighborhood wives talking, right? So I'll just put it maybe here. Stanza 1, the neighborhood wives. Okay, so what do we talk about? While they sit facing the breeze, they talk about this, they talk about this, they talk about this, they talk about this, and even when the words falter, when they can't say the right thing, the gestures take off over, right? The aunties have the pursed lips, the rolling eyes, and the animated hands, meaning they move a lot, adorned with bangles of gold, jade, steel, and string. Now, some of you interpreted this as showing off gold and jade. However, these are actually talking about different religions coming together. So if you talk about string, there's the Buddhist string or the Hindu strings where they tie around their wrist to symbolize prayers or good luck. Steel is the Sikh bangle that they wear on the hands. Jade, the Chinese, and the gold could be referring to, I don't know, either the Malay community or even the Indian community. Okay, and children orbit around them being referring up to the neighborhood wives. The children orbit around them, laugh without diction, meaning they're not saying any words. They're not saying any words, but they are laughing. And their games of tag, of hide and seek, of catching, are reassurance. So their games of playing hide and seek with each other, with laughing with each other, is a reassurance that there has been no hot housing, no teaching that who is unclean, who is unwashed, who is untouchable. This is all referring to the caste system in which children are segregated, are marginalized, and saying that some children cannot mix with some children. But here, the children who are orbiting around the neighborhood wives, they laugh without any words. They're just talking. They're not even talking. Sorry, they're just playing, and they're playing hide and seek. They're playing catching, and this playing catching and laughing reassures the poet that there is no teaching of the fact that people should be segregated. And when they break out into some kindergarten song, meaning when they start to sing some kindergarten song, somebody who passes by, one, would almost believe in this generation of children have been cleansed of skin deep suspicions, meaning that they don't look at each other with suspicion based on the skin color of their skin, and they're free from the superstitions of the tongue, meaning like what race or what religion is better or worse, superstitions of the tongue. And the old folks, so we have the good stuff of the children here. We have the neighborhood wives who are gossiping and having fun and talking regardless of race or religion. Here we have children talking without race or religion. Everybody's happy, talking to each other, laughing without any diction, playing games with each other. And here we have old folks. Okay, so let me write right here first. Stanza 2. Children playing without discrimination. And old folks sit like sages, old wise people, to deploy chess pieces with ancient strategies. So you're talking about old folks who are not sitting at home, but rather they are playing chess with ancient strategies, using their minds and in a corner a caged bird bursts with the song of its master pride, and wrinkled women breathe through Tai Chi tuned windpipes, the operatic melody in the air. So we're talking about music, 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 music. So even though there are wrinkled women, okay, all old, here's stanza 3. They are old but so alive, not stuck and crippled, okay, but instead alive with playing chess or watching birds, or even playing windpipes and yeah. So this is all from line 1 to line 34. Now look at the form. So we have long form, long stanzas, long stanza, long stanza, and suddenly a single line. So obviously the single line is trying to point out the fact that this is different, it stands apart. All a wanton fantasy. The writer, the poet, is trying to draw attention that everything above is all a wanton fantasy. Okay? A hopeless, a pointless dream. It is purely just a dream, a hope that will never be accomplished. Yeah? Why is all this positive stuff never going to happen? Because eyes, meaning if you look closely, reveal a meeting point, not for people. The irony is that you are meeting for loners and loiterers. See the irony? Meeting point is usually of people, right? Of communities, yet it's only a meeting point for loners and loiterers, people who are outcasted, or people who are just with nothing better to do. A sense of things reduced. Reduced meaning here we have things who are so full of life, laughter, talking, running around, talking about so much life. But here, everything is reduced. Reduced because conversations that trickle through, meaning that if I trickle through, meaning that the conversations are very few and far between. The conversations that do trickle through are brief noddings at live landings. That's the acknowledgement. That's all the acknowledgement. Given at lived landings. Okay, that is all that the neighbors are doing. That's the extent of the neighbors. Yeah, they don't have talks. The neighborhood wives are not talking about life, even though this is sometimes showing off here, boasting, okay, but ultimately they are still communicating, talking to each other. But here it is revealed that conversations are trickling through. There are not no conversations at all, and all the interaction that happens in the void deck are reduced to just brief noddings, just acknowledgement of presence. All the acknowledgement that is given at leaf landing to neighbors. Okay, they live next to each other, yet all they do is nod and acknowledge the presence, not even conversation. And teenage rhetoric, meaning the words and the common themes that teenagers talk about, are scrawled in liquid paper. Vandalism. On the stone table chessboard. So just earlier on, we talk about old folks that are sitting like sages and playing with chess pieces about active aging. But here instead, we have the young people just simply vandalizing it. The grandeurs, house selling dreams of residents compacted in anonymous letterboxes, meaning that they are trying to sell their houses and they put the leaflets into anonymous letterboxes, meaning they are trying to all their dream is not centered in the future, but more so of a future that is without these houses that are atop the void deck. Is of better things. The void deck, this house that they're living in, is not what they want. And as an afterthought, an old man pees under a public phone. So early on we have old folks that are sages, but here we're comparing them to being inconsiderate old men. Okay, far from the good example that we had once seen. A place to be avoided. It is no longer somewhere that children gather. It's not somewhere where neighborhood wives gather after wet market. It is not where the old people play chess. It's not where the wrinkled women play Tai Chi tuned windpipes. Instead, it's a place to be avoided. No life. Let's avoid it. This how in its vastness managed a large space it devours hours, meaning that the hours are passing without anything actually happening in the void deck. Little wonder. It is of little wonder then why it devours hours, nothing happens, it is obvious, little wonder why residents rush through void decks. It is just simply a space for transit. No one uses the void deck for actual, meaningful activities like in the first page. And back in the cramped comforts of home, they rather go back to the look at this, look at this. Okay, the juxtaposition of vastness and cramped comfort. Okay, even though the void deck is there with its vastness, but rather than hang out there, the residents rather go back to the cramped comforts of home, as if in fear of what open space might do to cozy minds. What do you think the writer Alvin Tsai is trying to say? That what is it about Singaporeans? They would rather stay cramped in their houses than to communicate with their neighbors. Okay, so what impression? So these two questions. Do you notice the difference? 1 to 34 and the rest of the poem. 1 to 34 is this is the dream, okay, the wanton fantasy. And the rest of the poem, this is, so the question is actually broken up into the first one, which is fantasy, the impression of local Singaporeans in this fantasy, and rest of the poem. Okay. So you can pause the video now if you want to think of some points first before you look at mine. Okay. So I'm going to look through these 5 questions now. Let me zoom in a little. Who, when, summary of plot, poet's message, conflict. If I look at who, we have number 1. Number 2, we have the children. And number 3, we have the old folks. Right? The second half, we have loners. Okay, everybody is just people who are passing through. When is this? There is no timeline here. It's just describing a space, not time. If I look at the summary of plot, I first talk about the wanton fantasy, what's happening in the wanton fantasy, and then it moves on to reality. Poet's message, because talking about the symbolism. I'll avoid that. Okay, that it is supposed to be a common space, bringing people together, encouraging active lifestyle, a community, but in reality it's just a place of transit in between spaces. Conflict. There is no real conflict here, considering it's just a demonstration of what's happening. I would instead say that the poet himself is conflicted about what the void deck means to him. What the void deck is supposed to mean versus reality. Okay, let's now go through the poem. Okay, so what's the impression that I found of local Singaporeans? So, looking at the first one, I will talk about all of this is talking about the close-knit community. It's a close community. So even though they gossip about this, about this, about this, about this, okay, even though they gossip, it shows that even though on superficial level gossip is bad, but in fact they are sharing their lives with each other. Okay, and if I look at right after the morning at the wet market, they sit there, and here it's about routine, that the void deck is part and parcel of their everyday life. Okay, and then if I look at that woman throws things from their window with careful put downs, right? They are trying to they take pride in the space that they would scold people for, they would chide people for damaging the space. It's as mad for ruining the space. Okay, and then how about all this? Fashion books about stubborn sons, lazy daughters who always score well in class. Okay, despite the fact that they do boast, but we're trying to look at something positive here, right? Okay, so did they share? No. That they're actually sharing the personal lives. Okay, that they are so close that they know of each other's families. And then let me see. The color pen do I have? Here we go. Here, that they are blind to race or religion, that they come from different backgrounds, but still sharing the same space / communicating. Okay, so that is the points that I can have from the first stanza alone. Now, the second stanza, the children orbiting. What else can I link up? So I have so many different colors really, right? So I try and match lah. So I talk about the children orbiting around them. If I look at all these colors, which one would it refer to? Children orbit around them. About sharing personal lives. That their families are all playing with each other. All know each other. Their children are friends. It's intergenerational. Okay. Laugh without diction. They're games of attack. No hot housing about who's unclean. Blah blah blah. It's the same as the gold, jade, steel, string thing. No hot housing of who is unclean. Da da da. Okay. Cleanse off. Okay. Blind to race and religion. Plus the second generation. Hope for the future, for a better future. Singaporeans are actually going to build a better, more integrated, more less bias, less racist future. Okay, and the old folks sit like sages. Okay, all these ancient strategies. I talked about it just now. Okay, all of this I can say that it is active aging. Oops. Active aging in which they are playing games that require mental dexterity, meaning that they are actively thinking using their brains. Okay, and not only that, the music also shows that they are shows that they are so full of life. Okay, juxtaposing against how old folks are usually portrayed, which is senile and weak, frail. Yeah. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forms for question 1. What impressions do you form of Singaporeans from lines 1 to 34? Okay, so look at the second one now. Oh, sorry, the first one for impressions. So besides, whenever you see impression question, I would like you to write me a bit of personal opinions as well, so your feelings, so you can talk about how optimistic you are after reading that, hopeful, right, optimistic, and besides of that, you're also very impressed at how united the community is, that you can even feel touched. Okay, that such communities exist, that they know each other, blah blah blah. Okay. Next question. How does the poet vividly convey his thoughts about the void deck in the rest of the poem? So this is the reality check, right? So how does he vividly convey his thoughts about the void deck? So, first of all, I think something that shines through, the most obvious, is how there's an obvious contrast. Wait, let's see what color pen can I use. So number 1, I can talk about the contrast, the stark contrast, the very obvious contrast. Right. So I have okay, earlier on we have the chessboards, right, are used by the old folks who sit like sages, is productive and active aging. But in this case, it's all vandalism, as if there is no respect. The vandalism shows that there is no respect. Okay, so but remember, it is the question is asking for the poet's thought. So what can I say? The writer's intention, trying to convey his disappointment. Why is it disappointment? Because stark contrast of what could have been, versus what it really is. Vandalism by the youths. Okay, instead of youths being hopeful future, but here they are just simply vandals. Supposed to be where the king sits, but no respect, disappointment. Okay, and it's an old man pees under public phone. Okay, not only inconsiderate, okay, but a huge difference between somebody who is actively aging. Okay, here it is just a nuisance, a hindrance, a burden, as opposed to almost as if the normal rhetoric of Singaporeans, right? That old people are a burden, okay, just causing problems instead of being active. So this is like the dream, and this is the reality. And then, okay, so what else? Sorry, vividly conveys. Okay, what I would also like would be here. Maybe the next thing I can use is diction. The trickle through, brief noddings. Okay, so I just zoom into this trickle through and brief noddings. So how do they vividly? How does he vividly convey his thoughts through diction? What kind of diction is this? This diction is talking about the extent, meaning how little, right, of communication. Trickle implies the volume of conversation. It's almost close to nothing. The brief nodding, just simply an acknowledgement. There is no communication, there is no sign that they know each other even. They are just simply polite, but there's nothing more besides polite. It's just hi and bye. Okay? Not only that, we have little wonder why resonance rush through. I can also vividly convey through irony. Okay, because they would rather go to the cramped comforts of the home. They find comfort in cramped spaces instead of the void deck that is supposed to be so vast and so full of potential. But they would rather keep to themselves. Okay, cozy minds, meaning they're small-minded. The fact that they would be afraid of what open spaces would do, as if they're afraid of communicating, afraid of being friends. Okay, so because it's how I can phrase my question through something. So first one that I did was through the stark contrast. Okay, you can, especially right after mentioning / breaking our bubble, that the void deck full of life equals to number 2. We have what did I say? Diction. With diction through diction to emphasize the lack of communication. And the third one is through irony. Okay, and that's all